other thing I want to talk about today, Twitter. I use it. I'm not super engaged on it, but I do use it. I retweet people a lot. I don't comment a lot, but I actually retweet more than I do anything else. And I've never done it thinking that I might be charged with a felony for doing that. Just a simple button, doop, retweet, not a big deal. And you would think that that would be not a big deal, right? Well, unfortunately it is, because we have a story where in New Jersey, people actually they retweeted somebody else's tweet, and now they've been charged with felonies. So they tweeted, somebody retweeted a photo of a cop at a Black Lives Matter protest, and then they became felonies. So this story comes out of Nutley, New Jersey. It began with a tweet of a police officer at a Black Lives Matter protest in June and a crude request to identify him. So here's what this person does. They take a picture of this photo of this cop. They take a picture of him and they put it on Twitter, and they say, if anyone knows who this bitch is, throw his info under this tweet. The tweet read. And so, is that a felony? If anybody knows who this guy is, throw his name, throw his info under this tweet is all it said. Not his home address, nothing like that. Throw his info under this tweet. So basically trying to dox this guy, right? We talk about this all the time on the internet, getting doxed. And somebody's trying to dox this guy. Okay. So sitting home in Queens, another person, so not the original tweeter, Georgiana Siskak, saw the tweet appear on her Twitter timeline, and then she clicked the retweet button. So she's just scrolling along. Yeah, that's funny. I wonder who that guy is. Retweet, boom. Nearly 1 month later, Siskak was issued a summons charging her with a felony. 4th-degree cyber harassment with the intent to harm or place a person in fear of harm after retweeting the post, which has since been deleted. As a 20-year-old that simply retweeted a tweet to help my friend, I am now at risk of giving up my career, serving time, and having a record. She wrote on her GoFundMe page, raised more than $8,000 for her legal bills. So here's how this works, right? So she retweets, and the cops go into psycho mode. So they're going to track these people down because they're threatening our well-being. They're threatening our safety. We don't want our personally identifying information out there in the world. And so because this person said, anybody know who this bitch is, throw his info in the thread, here's what the police say. So the officer, the person who is the subject of the tweet, says, in fear of physical or emotional harm to his person, specifically by reposting a Twitter post via username Georgiana, originally posted by Inaka Copley Picasso, depicting a photo of Detective Peter Sandomenico on 6/26, acting in the performance of his duties at a protest which took place in front of the Nutley Police Headquarters, stating, if anyone knows who this bitch is, throw his info under this tweet, causing Detective Sandomenico to fear that harm will come to himself, family, and property in violation of the statute. So this person gets charged with a felony for a retweet for that. So, ask yourself, would that scare you? I mean, you're a cop. You're out there, sort of doing that exactly, right? I mean, you're out there trying to sort of squelch these protests by scaring and intimidating people, and somebody's going to ask who you are, and you're going to charge them with a crime for that. The felony charge carries a maximum 18-month prison sentence, $10,000 fine. The summons filed against all 5 defendants. So there were 5 people who retweeted that, and the police went and tried to track them down. PJ, who's the Detective PJ Sandomenico, the officer, feared harm would come to himself, his family, and his property. So he's very scared that, this type of stuff may impact him. And it's insane to me. I mean, I think these guys are the biggest weenies in the world. My stuff's certainly public. Most people, if you work at a business, it's public. My office is here. People know how to get in touch with me. They know my name. If somebody's creative, they could find out, where I live. I've got property listed all over the place, I don't have a lot of property, but the property I do have is listed. People you can go to the Corporation Commission and find people. You can find information about people. you don't charge people with felonies for that unless you're a cop. So it's the cops who are circling the wagons around these guys. Now, we've got some other people who are saying, from the other side, I don't know if these charges are going to go forward or not, but the fact that somebody can be charged with a crime for simply retweeting somebody else, I think doesn't make any sense, right? There's sort of two things that need to happen in criminal law. You need what's called an actus reus, which is an action, and you need a mental state. You need a mindset state. And so is that happening here? Is a retweet, an action that is meeting that threshold of the statute about threatening, intimidating, or any of those things? In my mind, I don't think so at all. And was there any action? Is a retweet, actually posting the information or actually making real contemporaneous threats? It's not. So what is the real purpose of these charges? Is it to seek a conviction? No, of course not, because these are not convictable offenses. They're not meant to do that. What they're meant to do is to scare the public. So this cop is out there saying, well, I'm scared about myself. I'm scared about my family. I'm scared about my home and my property. Meanwhile, they're out there scaring other people who are peacefully protesting. There are rioters for sure, and I don't condone any of that. But the people who are peacefully protesting, the people who do want to know more about who these cops are, if they're asking for information about these people, is that a crime? I don't think so. I mean, I would love to know this guy's address. I'd love to know it because I want to send him a copy of my book, Beginning to Winning, How to Fight Your Case and Succeed in the Criminal Justice System. I'd love to send him a copy. There's a lot of really good information in here about how the justice system should work and why it's so important we have good cops and good prosecutors. I'd love to send you a copy, my friend. There is a perfectly legitimate reason for people to want to know who you are and get in contact with you. So the fact that somebody's just upset with this cop or he used the word bitch in his tweet, that doesn't, in my mind, make it a crime. The real crime here is that the police are doing this to chill the speech. They're doing this to clamp down on people trying to identify their officers, which is basically as cowardly as they come in my mind. They're rounding people up. They're charging people with crimes. This guy's fearful of his life. Hey, you know that police departments all over the country, especially in Arizona, they post people's mugshots right on the internet, meaning they'll get you arrested. You get arrested. They'll put your name on there, your date of birth. Many times they'll put your location, what city you're in. They'll put the charges that you were faced with. They'll put the arrest date on there, and they'll have your picture right there on the internet for all to see. So cops, prosecutors, politicians, they're all doing this, but when you do it back to them, that's when they freak out about it. And they say, oh, now I'm fearful for my life. I'm fearful for my safety. Well, what about the people you arrested and you took their pictures and you threw them right on the internet? What about those people? So you're literally in the business of doxing people every time you arrest somebody. But when somebody wants to dox you for violating their constitutional rights, their freedom to go speak and to protest and to make their voices heard about a lot of these issues, you're going to clamp down on them with the full force of the justice system. You're going to charge them with felonies that carry over a year in prison if they're convicted of these things. Are you serious? Because it's outrageous. So let's go ahead and just make sure that we can be very clear about who this whiny cop is. And his name is Detective. Let's see here. I want to pronounce it clearly and I want to put it on the screen here. Let's see who this is. We've got, okay. What the heck did I do with it? All right. So these are the people. Detective PJ Sandomenico. Yeah. So Nutley Police Detective Peter P.J. Sandomenico feared harm would come to himself, his family, and his property. I'd love to send him a book if he wants to send me his address. Happy to send him a book. Hopefully he reads it and then he realizes that it's time to grow up a little bit, my friend.